Hey everybody, it's the Burger Dude, and today I want to show you how I make fried oyster mushrooms. Super easy, super delicious, and as you can see here, you can enjoy it in a veritable cornucopia of ways. And here's the star of the show, the oyster mushrooms, and you can find these at most Asian markets. I find mine at Whole Foods. And as you can see there, they've got a bunch of nice craggly bits, which is going to create a very good texture once we fry them. So let's get our dredging station going. We're going to start off with some unsweetened plant milk, followed by the apple cider vinegar, as always. And next up, we got some brine from some dill pickles. Use whatever pickles you like, but I do suggest using some dill. And then we're going to throw in some hot sauce. And I really like this Louisiana hot sauce. It's becoming my favorite right now. And this is creating a vegan buttermilk, so whisk it and then let it sit to thicken while we get our dry dredging station together. So we're going to start with some flour, and then we're going to add equal parts cornstarch. And then next is some baking powder. And I'm going to be using some Cajun seasoning. You can use this Cajun's choice if you like. I also have this that I find at my local Vons. But if you don't have that, you can also use some Mrs. Dash chicken seasoning or really any all-purpose seasoning that you like. No matter what, if you like it, it'll taste good. And then go ahead and give that a whisk, and our dredging station is basically ready. Now usually at the Burger Dude, when we deep fry, we use a Dutch oven like this along with a deep fry thermometer, and that's all fine and dandy and good. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to be using this Fry Daddy, which is a electric fryer, and I love this thing. This post isn't sponsored by them. I will have a link in the description if you want to get your own. They're relatively inexpensive. I got mine for about 40 bucks. And one of the great things about the Fry Daddy is it keeps the oil at 375 degrees at all times, and so it makes it very, very easy to fry because you don't have to constantly be, checking your temperature, making sure it's at the right heat. And the only downside is that it's a bit smaller than the Dutch oven that I usually use, but at the same time, I don't have to, take as many breaks when I'm frying. So it kind of works itself out. So while our oil is heating up, let's dredge some of our oyster mushrooms, aka our vegan fried chicken. And these things do have a lot of nooks and crannies, so go ahead and make sure that you get everything nice and coated. At the same time, you want to make sure that you shake off any excess. And you also want to use alternating hands for each, the wet and the dry. Now, I don't know why I'm using my left hand for the right bowl and vice versa, but hey, at least I'm using two hands, right? And just make sure, again, shake off all the excess, and you're going to go ahead and double dredge, which just means to do exactly what I'm doing, just do it twice. Do the shaky of all the excess stuff there, and just try and get every inch covered in flour so that you don't see any wet stuff. Shake it again, and now it's ready to fry. You can also take these mushrooms and break them up into smaller pieces, and to be honest, this is actually, I think, my preferred way to do this. So go ahead and just break them up, and you can coat a bunch at the same time since they're smaller. And you're going to want to double dredge these as well, even though in the video I think I kind of skipped over it here and just did it once, but you're going to double dredge those as well. And once your oil is up to around 375, it's time to plop those dudes in there. So add them to the oil, and these took about, 3 or 4 minutes. They were done pretty quickly. But once they're nice and golden brown, that's when you're going to want to pull them out. Just let them go around swimming, doing their thing. I think that might be crowding the pan, but I'm not sure. But you know what? It all worked out anyways, so it probably didn't really matter. I think that's probably okay right there. It's about half full. And once it looks like that, nice and golden brown, you're going to want to go ahead and set it aside on a wire rack. And here's some of the smaller pieces I wanted to show you. And these are like the size of kind of like large chicken nuggets or maybe small chicken fingers. I don't know. Whatever you call them, go ahead and make sure you shake off any of the oil, let it drip. And then we're going to place it on a wire rack like this. And you can totally, keep these in the oven to keep them warm. Just make sure that you have it at the lowest setting. For instance, mine goes down to 170 Fahrenheit. You can also air fry these if you like. So what we're going to do is get some parchment paper, and we're going to poke some holes in it with a chopstick. And what the parchment paper is going to do is it's going to keep the breading from sticking to the air fryer. And one thing I do want to make a note of is if you are going to preheat your air fryer, don't do it with the parchment paper inside without anything on top of it, because it'll fly up and it'll hit the coils and it'll catch on fire, and then you might, burn down your house or something. And I don't think that's what you were intending when you were trying to make air fried chicken. So just keep that in mind. And once we got enough holes poked in, we're going to lay it down like that. This one took a little finagling, so, you know, do what you got to do. And now what we're going to do is get our mushrooms, and I'm going to break it up into smaller pieces. And for the air frying, you only need to do a single dredge. Don't do a double dredge. And I apologize for the appearance of my dredging station, but this was towards the end when things start to get a little bit messy. And now we're going to take our fried chicken and just lay it down and give it a nice spritzing with cooking oil. And yes, air frying does require a little bit of oil, just not nearly as much as deep frying. And what you want to do here is you just want to make sure you don't see any dry flour when you're spraying your vegan fried chicken here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cook it at 380 for about 6 minutes. And basically what I do here is I just cook it at 380 for 6-minute intervals, and then I flip it and spray it. Make sure if you see any dry flour, that's definitely what you want to get. And basically you just do this, just repeat this process until it gets to the texture that you like. Towards the end, you can get rid of the parchment paper. And if you're asking yourself, wow, that looks pretty great, is that as good as it is when it's deep fried? No, of course not. But it's still really, really good, you know? And so if you don't want to cook with a bunch of oil, this is a great alternative. Now, I'd like to show you how I make one of my top 5 favorite sauces of all time, a vegan remoulade. And this goes super great with this vegan fried chicken recipe. And we're going to start off with some vegan mayo. And I tried not to use my finger in this recipe, but it just wasn't destined to happen. Followed by some yellow mustard, of course. And then a little bit of that pickle brine. Then, of course, we're going to add in some more of that Louisiana hot sauce, some prepared horseradish, some more of that good old Cajun seasoning, and then some freshly minced garlic. Woo! And then we're going to give that a whisk. And this really is one of the best sauces you'll ever try. I mean, I literally did eat it with a spoon like it was pudding, you know? Like right here, I'm giving it a little taste. And I didn't, you know, include it in the video, but I tasted it quite a bit before I gave it the thumbs up just for fun. So with that remoulade, what you can do is make a po' boy like this. And this was, for me, this was the best thing I made. I gotta say, this just knocked it out of the park. So if you make anything, I suggest making that. You could also make a big old chicken sandwich just like this. And, you know, this guy was no slouch either. I did like that po' boy quite a bit, but this was super, super, super tasty as well. And here you go, classic burger dude psych out. You could also just do a basket of chicken tenders and french fries, dip it in ranch as I often do. I mean, look at this, you really can't go wrong with this recipe. You can really honestly serve it up however you like. And I'm sure some of you are a little bit curious about what it looks like on the inside, and so I'll just go ahead and break one of these apart and show you. And look at that, I mean, there's a reason why I say, you know, mushroom is nature's meat. Look at that. Pretty dang good. Super crispy on the outside, super tender on the inside, just like you want it to be. Of course, you could also do a classic chicken dinner with some mashed potatoes and gravy and some peas. Why not? Super delicious as well. And as you can see, there really is quite a number of ways you can serve up this dish. So I hope you go ahead and make it. I hope you have fun and do whatever you like, because the world is your oyster mushroom.